Pretzel baking, here with my daughter Jane. Very simple set of ingredients: sugar, white flour and whole wheat flour, salt, yeast, and oil. Oil, any kind will do. This is olive oil. You can use canola oil, or if you don't have oil in your home, you could use 2 tablespoons of melted butter. That would work fine. Yeast, I've already started our yeast rising in warm water. Either 2 1/4 teaspoons from a tub, or 1 package of yeast with 1/2 cup warm water, a little bit warmer than room temperature. Whole grain flour is not essential, but it's helpful with pretzels because it will slow down the rising, and it's hard to get the full pretzel experience if the dough rises so big that it doesn't look like a pretzel anymore, and whole grain flour will help a little bit with that. So recommended reading. I'm also going to post a kid's video of Walter the Pretzel Baker by Eric Carle. Wonderful book. Little story about pretzel baking. If while your dough is rising, you might want to listen to that to waste some time. All right, so let's get going here. So the first thing that we need is 1 cup of whole wheat flour. I'll do that, and then Jane's going to put in 2 cups, about 1.5 cups or 2 scant cups of white flour in with the wheat flour. I have my fancy apron on, Fancy Friday. My friend Lucy's having Fancy Friday, so I decided to be fancy too. All right, and then 1 tablespoon of sugar. You could use a different type of sugar, would be okay. Brown sugar would work. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Alrighty. We're going to wire whisk this together so the dry ingredients are nicely incorporated. A little well in the center. And we need 2 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2. Okay. The yeast is nice and bubbly now. Can you see that? We're going to add that in with the oil and an additional 1/2 cup of warm water. So my method is I use the 1/2 cup to rinse out so you get all the yeast. I'm going to do that now. Warm but not hot. Yeast is pretty easy to work with, but one thing that will kill it is water that is super hot, and cold water, it just won't get active, so you kind of got to aim for a middle range temperature, a little bit warmer. And then Jane's going to mix that all together for us, and I'm going to get us ready for yeasting. Jane and I both washed our hands before we got started and rinsed very carefully, of course, so that the dough tastes good. And although you might be able to hear my dogs, we're not petting them and we're not touching our noses or anything like that. All right, so I'm going to get it started. I recommend this. Jane can do it by herself now, but when she was little, it sometimes takes big hands to get it started, and then you can share or take turns, whatever you think. This is not a huge recipe, so you could double it. The thing is, though, when you get to the end and you're making pretzels, it takes a long time. So I usually don't double it myself because I'm usually not making pretzels for a crowd. And what usually happens is that people get tired of making pretzels before the dough is gone. That sometimes happens. All right. When it's all together, I'm just going to put a little bit on the counter, and Jane can keep kneading it. And I'm going to get our bowl ready. So This dough will rise for about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit less, probably not, a little bit more, approximately an hour and a half. Depends on how warm it is. It's chilly where I am today, so it's probably not going to rise very quickly, but if you're making this on a summer day, it could rise in as little as an hour. There we go. So, nice, smooth and well incorporated, looks good. We're going to push this into the bowl, swirl the oil around, flatten it and flip it. I have this handy dandy Pampered Chef goes over with a vent on top lid, which I like because I can use it over and over again. You can also use a damp kitchen towel, which is clean damp towel, and drape it over, or a plastic wrap will work as well. I'm going to leave this in a warm spot, warm in the sun, or warm place in your kitchen, and we'll come back in about an hour and a half. Back with Jane for pretzel baking. This is nicely risen dough for pretzels. We also have 2 greased cookie sheets. You can make as many as 12 pretzels out of this. I usually don't do that many. That's a little bit too much. We're going to roll it into a long worm shape first. Jane and I are going to work side by side. Now, as you're doing this, keep in mind that it will rise a little bit, so you want it to be as thin as you can do it without your dough breaking. All right. Now, I'm going to give you a little space, Jane. And then flip it up. You're doing a better job than I am. Can you do the circle and then the twist? The top. Yeah. And around. Okay, and then over. Down. Oh, flip. There you go. Pretzel shape. It usually tuck your ends under a little bit because when it rises, sometimes those pop out. And then you're going to put that up on your greased cookie sheet. Make that whole, stretch it, guys, as much as you can on the cookie sheet, because when it rises, you'll lose some of the opening. You can leave an opening in the middle there as well if you'd like. This is a traditional shape, but obviously you don't have to just make a traditional pretzel shape. You can make the shape that you like. Sometimes people like to make a twist, or you can just make rods if you'd like. These are soft, puffy pretzels. They won't be hard like the type that you get at the grocery store. Our pretzels are going to be ballpark pretzels, big. All right, we have more dough to do. When we're finished making all the pretzels, we'll let them rise for about 30 minutes, maybe as little as 20, depending on how warm your room is. You need a large pot of salted water, which is going to be boiling. This is the part that you need the adults for. You don't want to get too near to boiling water because the steam can burn you, and also the water is a little bit dangerous. So allow an adult to do that. Just like in the story Walter the Baker, I hope you had a chance to read that or to listen to the YouTube of me reading it. We're going to dip the risen dough into the salted water and then put it into a hot oven. That's the part that you'll need an adult for. So we'll let this rise and we'll get back for that part. All right, our pretzels, you can see are puffy now. They've risen a little bit, about 30 minutes. So this is salted boiling water. I'm going to, one at a time, put a pretzel in, about 10 seconds on each side, flip it. I have, you want something that has holes in it so that the water will run out when you flip it. Then I'm going to put it back on the tray. The oven is preheated to 400 degrees with a rack in the middle. So after they've been dipped in the boiling salted water, when the tray has 3, I'm going to put it into the oven. So let's see. This, of course, is an adult job because you have to be careful around this really hot water. I'm going to turn the temperature down so that it's just simmering. to do too, so I think I will. One, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, 1,009, 1,000, 10, and then flip. See if we can do that without making a mess. 1, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005, 1,006, 1,007, 8, 1,009, 10. Okay, now back onto my greased cookie sheet. Okay, kind of gross and soggy now. I made a twist. Okay, if you want more. 1, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005, 1,006, 7, 1,008, 1,009, 1,010, and flip. Just turn that a little bit. 2, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005, 1,006, 1,007, 1,008, 1,009, 1,010. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Now Jane has some sea salt, fine sea salt. You could use coarse sea salt. You could use poppy seeds, or you could even use wheat germ if you'd like to have some on top. Sprinkle away. Okay, into the oven they go, and then I'll do the next batch and we'll come back together to see what they look like when they're done. Here with Jane. Let's get them out of the oven, see how they look. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Pretzels, ballpark pretzels. You could, of course, make these a lot smaller if you prefer. I'm going to let these cool on a wire rack. And I hope you enjoy pretzel breaking with your family. And I also hope you have a chance to enjoy this really good book, Walter the Pretzel Baker.